Start trading crypto today. Sign up for our step-by-step video series to get set up with the best trading tools, start analyzing charts, enter and exit a trade properly, and most importantly, see if crypto trading is right for you. Join us at bitlabacademy.com.
Welcome to Rice TVX. On today's Rice Report, I am joined by returning guest Janice McAfee, the widow of the late John McAfee. I will include a link down below in the video description and above for our first interview together. I will also include a link down below and in the pinned comment for the petition of the release of John McAfee's body. On today's show, we're going to get updates on what's going on with the release of John's remains. We're also going to be talking about the newly released Netflix documentary, Running with the Devil. Before we get into it, visit ricetvx.com and sign up for my mailing list so you never miss an update or new Rice TVX content. You will also find my various social media links and more. You can also find Rice TVX on Odyssey and Library, where I have a full catalog of my videos, post up extra content, and share other appearances. And you can also find Rice TVX on BitChute. Get your free half ounce of silver. Take full advantage of my partnership with Money Metals Exchange in 5 easy steps. 1. Visit moneymetals.com. 2. Be a first-time buyer. 3. Purchase a minimum of $100. 4. Use the promo code RICE. 5. Get a free half ounce of silver, and it's an additional way to support the channel. I will include links in the video description for everything I just mentioned, as well as everything shared on today's video. Okay, joining me on today's show is a very special guest, a returning guest. I am joined by Janice McAfee. She is the widow of the late John McAfee, as most of you may know. I will have links down below for her first appearance on the show, as well as all the interviews that I did with John McAfee. I have a playlist that I created, and I will also have links for the petition that we'll be talking about on today's show. So in case you missed that first interview, make sure that you're checking out this petition, signing it, and sharing it. But Janice, welcome back to the show. How's everything going with you?
Hi, Chris. Thank you for having me back. Things are okay.
Well, it's good to hear, and it's been a few months since you've been on the show. I want to go ahead real quickly and let me make sure I got the right links pulled up. I want to do a screen share with the petition. But since you were on the show, which is when the petition itself was launched publicly, it was your first public interview. What are your thoughts with everything going on currently with the petition?
Honestly, the petition has helped a great deal to kind of just bring awareness. A lot of people didn't know that the Spanish authorities were still holding on to John's remains. So getting that word out definitely was helpful. I think it has also helped here in Spain as far as just putting some pressure on the Barcelona court to come to a resolution quickly. There's been some chatter between the courts that I've been made aware of, so that is a positive thing. So even though the petition doesn't have it hasn't gone viral, if you will, it has definitely helped to move the needle here. And so I just want to thank all of you that have signed and shared the petition. Even though it doesn't feel like it, it has helped. And hopefully now that we're moving closer to September and the courts will be coming off of a vacation here, then we'll have some news shortly, hopefully.
Well, I am glad to see that it's gotten over 5,000 signatures. I mean, obviously with John having the following he had on Twitter and social media, we should see a lot more signatures. And, there is such thing as shadow banning and censorship. Yes. So I feel as if this change.org is probably not doing anything to promote this. And you're only hearing from it on a grassroots level. So for people that are unfamiliar, in case they're just tuning in and didn't watch the first interview, not familiar with what's going on, John passed away on June 23rd, 2021. Janice came on a show a few months ago, which was right at the year mark. At that time, John's body had not been released by the Spanish authorities after everything that had transpired. And here we are 2 months later. Is there any progress? Has John's body been released at this time?
No, as I said, the courts are on vacation. They went on vacation in August. However, much of July they weren't doing any work either because they were preparing for their vacation that they were going on in August. Something that I've learned here in Spain is that people seem to be allergic to work. I mean, with regards to the people in the government or within the court system, I should say, an official, I won't say the everyday Spanish person, but definitely in in the court system, they seem very much allergic to work and they enjoy dragging things out. And um, so his remains have not yet been released. Um, there should be a decision coming, I've been told, September, maybe October at the latest. Hopefully, it shouldn't be that long. I would imagine with the the documentary that just came out recently that it's brought a lot of attention to the situation, and I think I can humbly say this with authority that the Spanish probably did not realize who exactly John McAfee was and how much people cared about him and how widely um, this or how many people would be interested in this story. I think they just assumed he was just some American who was, claiming these things about himself that he was of some importance, but not really understanding that he actually did matter to people. And so I think that maybe they were just hoping that this would go away quietly and no one would ask any questions or make any problems for them. So at least that's the impression that I've gotten over this year plus that I've been dealing with them. So
Well, I mean, you talking to you privately, and then with the interview, it seemed like you were having this kind of same problem this a year ago after John had passed, dealing with the Spanish courts. Like you said, vacation seems to be a very important thing to the Spanish people, and it seems like they like to take long vacations, almost like a lot of our politicians do in the United States during the summertime.
right.
And then everybody kind of gets back to work Labor Day ish here in the States. So maybe it's somewhat similar there in Spain, but it sucks that they're definitely dragging it on, and it's definitely possible what you said that they may not be fully aware of who John McAfee was and how many people did care about him. And I do know, talking to a few people, that there were individuals that decided to take it upon themselves to look into this further as far as like contacting people. So there were plenty of people contacting Spanish authorities also, in addition to the petition, the media, and now the documentary. So I'm glad to see that. So again, for people who haven't signed it, the petition, it's a petition to basically get the Spanish courts, the Spanish authorities' attention to release John McAfee's remains. And regardless of how you feel about John personally, this is, to me, this is what I tell everybody about the situation. This is a human rights issue. And as a human, he and his family, his loved ones, Janice included, obviously deserve closure. And, hopefully that we'll get that sooner than later. So definitely keep me updated. Um, I guess you've spoken to your attorney, and your attorney is the one who's kind of giving you a little insight.
Yes, my attorney. Um, yes, and so there's just been I don't know. You know what? It's just really been a confusing and a frustrating situation, I guess is the best way that I can explain it. And I wish that I had more answers for everyone. I wish that this was not taking so long. Um, I wish that I had known certain information before I decided to take this route. Had I known that they would have taken, you know, months to give me a decision about whether or not they are going to release the autopsy, I think I would have done things differently. I would have made different choices, but because without that information, um, I didn't realize that it would take these many months. It was just kind of explained to me that they would decide whenever they decide, which, I mean, how can you make proper planning, when you're just at the whims of the court, and at the whim of the judge to, decide when they're going to give a decision without really having a hard date. So it's been really difficult, but I honestly feel that this is what John would have wanted me to do, to try to get answers, and so yeah, that's all I'm trying to do, and hopefully we'll have them soon.
Is there anything that you're allowed to share that your attorney has given that you, besides the little bit of information that you've already kind of shared already?
Honestly, I don't feel that I should share, and I'm only saying this because of my willingness to share about my being able to view his body. And I feel like that has only fueled the chatter around whether or not he's alive, and people pestering me with questions, and, telling me I'm not asking the right questions. And, I get it that they're well intentioned, but this is, I'm grieving here, and I'm trying to navigate this situation that, no one could possibly be prepared for a situation like this. And it's been really difficult. And so, yes, I would love to share things, but I just, because of, like I said, me sharing that thing and opening myself up, obviously, to people, kind of demanding answers or demanding more information, I'm not sure that I want to do that at this time.
No, I respect that. I do. And I mean, there may be sensitive information that you don't also want to release until things actually take place. And mentioning, that you would have possibly made different decisions had you known the situation would have played out like it had. Obviously, I mean, this isn't something that people have experience with, and being in another country doesn't help either, that you don't really understand fully the customs and all the complexities when it comes to the political system and the criminal system. Because what I would like to see, and I don't know how it could be done, but I mean, I know that the Spanish government has something that would be equivalent to like an FBI or marshals, where somebody could question also, because I mean, again, now we're going on from June 23rd to 21, we're going on to 14 months, and you're talking about September. So we're recording this on the 30th of August. It's coming out on the 31st. So in 23 days, we're looking at 15 months. And then if we're looking at October, we're looking at between 15 and 16 months, which is absolutely ridiculous, and you would think, that there would be, again, I mean, that's where this whole thing sounds very suspicious, but not, and just for all the people out there, not because I think that John is alive. That's not why it's suspicious. It's suspicious because John said he was not suicidal, that he would not kill himself, that he got the whacked tattoo that everybody's familiar with, and then he ends up dead. They say he committed
in the exact manner that he said he would never do.
Right, and they said he would commit. They said he committed suicide, which, again, as in that first interview that you did, when they found John, he wasn't exactly dead at that time. So
no, he wasn't. He was breathing and he had a heartbeat. Yeah.
With all that being said, I mean, if John said he wouldn't kill himself, and then the Spanish authorities, the jail, whatever, is saying he killed himself, there should have been some sort of investigation. That's what makes the suspicion seem very corrupt. And I don't know if it's cartel related because they're both Hispanic nations. I have no clue. I mean, it's just one of these situations where it's just a bunch of unanswered questions, which is why you have all these people, even before the documentary, which we'll get into here in just a minute, even before the documentary, people were insisting John's still alive. The Telegram groups, there is people on Truth Social, Donald Trump's social media, that claim to be John. There's a lot of religious things that are associated with, and I know John was an atheist. So it's, you know, people obviously didn't do their homework very well. For one, the people to pretend to be, and then what I like to call Kool-Aid drinkers, and I'm trying to stop calling people Kool-Aid drinkers, but the Kool-Aid drinkers who think that John is still with us and that those Telegram groups or the social media accounts are in fact John, when John has not contacted you in any manner. Now,
right. And then also there's videos of people, old videos of John when he was in our Faraday cage when we first got to Europe.
I was going to ask you about that.
They're claiming that that's new video, new footage, and
right.
It's not, people. Let me just to reiterate. I've already tweeted this, but I'll say it again here. Those are old videos. They're not new videos. The Faraday cage was something that we had when we first came to Europe, and I think I would know whether or not, you know, it was the same. So it is the same video footage. And you know, listen, you know, I don't want to destroy anyone's hope of thinking that John may or may not be alive. If that helps you sleep better at night, or if it just helps you to have that hope, that's fine. You know, you're welcome to have that. So I cannot say with authority that he is not, you know, but I can just say, based off of the information that I have received regarding his death, I don't believe that he is.
Yeah, I'm trying real quick to copy a link and so I can show the video. I was actually going to pull this up before, but then I thought it was kind of a waste of time, but I'm glad that you brought it up because a couple people had sent me a copy, and I said the same thing. I said during my interviews with John, when you guys went off grid, he was in a Faraday cage, a variety of them because of moving locations. But if you look at the background, they match up with the background from interviews that I did. So I was going to ask you if you could tell me specifically if you remember which one, and I'm getting ready to pull it up with the screen share. It just took me a minute to.
It was a video of him wearing a suit jacket,
yeah,
blazer with
no
shirt, no shirt, and the tie. Yeah.
And right, I want to pull it up. And this is coming from another one of the
Telegram,
Q related groups. Yeah, no, it's Telegram. I'm just trying to pull this thing up and turn the volume down. I guess it doesn't matter if I turn the volume up. What I got to do is stop this screen share that I'm doing now, pull up another screen share, and make sure I'm sharing the audio. Okay, so you can see this, right?
Yeah, this was the one. And if you notice, you can see me. I'm actually in the background.
Are you in the background?
Yeah, he's going to swing around, and you'll see someone sitting in the room.
Do you remember where you were at this point, though?
I do.
Okay, but so we
were in Europe, yeah. There I am there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you had something covering your hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Are you sure that's not Samantha Herrera? I mean, this is what I'm saying about people. So, okay. It's a stretch what people will think. So you're 100% absolutely positive without a shadow of a doubt that video was not taken since the death of John McAfee that we know.
No, it was not.
I feel silly even asking you these questions this way, but
no, it's okay. I understand because people want to know these things, and I'm okay to answer them.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for being so forthcoming. So you said that you did have a chance to watch the documentary?
Yes, I did watch it.
Running with the Devil.
It was entertaining. I will say that.
What were your overall, besides the ending, which we'll get into, before the ending, what were your overall thoughts about what they had done?
It was very chaotic and hectic. And it was difficult to kind of, I lived it, so it was difficult. I mean, with the exception of Belize. So, of course, it was very chaotic and hectic at times, but mostly we had a good time. But it didn't seem to be a cohesive story. The timeline kind of jumped all over the place. I think Robert did an excellent job. He kind of saved it overall. I think otherwise we would be looking at something more similar to The Gringo, which is kind of what it felt like. But I guess I haven't really watched that, and I've been told there was a more complete story, I guess. But I wish that this documentary would have used more of the footage because Robert was with us for so long, and he had taken so much more footage than what was actually shown, and it just felt like, to me, it felt like they used only the footage that they needed to tell the story that they wanted to tell, as opposed to just telling the story,
Right.
or just letting the story tell itself, I
Kind
guess,
of forcing
as
it
opposed
along.
to kind of forcing it towards a specific narrative or ending that they wanted the audience uh, to see. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I did like Robert King's footage.
Yeah.
I reached out to him about potentially coming on the show here soon, so hopefully I can get him on. I didn't know John, or that Robert King had been involved with John as long as he had. It was prior
Yeah.
to you, actually, right?
Yeah, it was. They initially met, I guess, in November of 2012. So it was just a month before John and I met. And so they got started with him in Belize when he was, on the run, and that whole situation. And then Robert came, I believe I remember first meeting him in Portland when John and I had moved to Portland. And then again, we met again up in Tennessee. So he did a lot of filming, even when John and I were together. He was with us in Cuba. He was with us in the Dominican Republic. There was a little bit of footage of that, but there was just so much more footage I was hoping that everybody would get to see. We had a good time in Cuba. Um, the second trip, I would say, I think was better than the first. And it was just different, because Cuba is just a beautiful place. And um, anyways, yeah. So I hope everyone did enjoy the documentary. Uh, it was
I mean,
entertaining.
overall, I did like it. I didn't think it was bad. I just really thought it was going to be more of from 2019 onward, and just specifically because running with the devil. Now, it makes sense with him leaving the Dominican Republic, but that story was kind of already told. Like, because the Get the Gringo was like very much condensed as to just Belize, and it
Right.
crazy as hell, totally crazy. But and this one wasn't, like you said, it didn't quite have that right flow. And I don't know if it was also partially forced, because I feel like the ending was very forced, because
Yeah.
Samantha Herrera, Sam, she seemed to be very authentic in the way that she was communicating throughout the documentary, where they would cut up footage from the interview with her. But
Mhm.
the interview, like when they used the clip at the end, and that's what ruined it for me. If it wasn't for that, it would have been, it would have been, a lot better. But the ending felt fake, felt very forced. And what's interesting, I did a video last week about this when it came out, and the New York Post says, I guess, because it says updated, but they've changed the article, because there were things in here that quoted from the documentary about what she was saying. She, like, where she said, someone said, when was the last time that you talked to John? And she said, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but 2 weeks after his death. I think she said 2 weeks after his death, or 2 weeks ago, one of the two. And said that he was in Texas, and that
Mhm.
he wanted her to go on the run
Yeah.
with him. Um, So what are your first of all, have you ever talked to Sam Herrera?
I have.
Okay.
Early in mine and John's relationship, because he was trying to get both her, Samantha, as well as Amy to America. That was one of his promises that he made to them. And so he spent a lot of money, working with attorneys to try to make that happen. Um, but he wasn't able to do so. So we had spoken over that time. Also, I was sending money to Samantha um, on John's behalf. Of course, she would email or when she needed some money. And so I'm sorry, one second. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Just my alarm. Sorry. Okay, but so yeah, I would send her money, and so we would speak that way. Um,
Have you talked to her since the documentary came out?
no, I haven't spoken to her in years, actually.
Okay. What do you think about what she said about the fact that John faked his death and is still alive in Texas?
um,
Texas.
I think anybody that thinks that he would be in Texas, or you seriously have lost your marbles, because why would he go to the place? Although I guess a case can be made for the fact that the best place to hide would be right under someone's nose, right? So like if you're engaging in illegal activity, probably like selling drugs or something, you might be better
Doing it
off
right down
being
the
right
street
across
from
the
the
street
police.
from the police
Yeah.
station. Yes, exactly, because they wouldn't think to look there. So, um, but the world is so much bigger than Texas and bigger than America that I don't think that he would choose to hide out there. Obviously, he would know how to spoof his phone number. So, so it's possible, I guess, that he would have called her. But then I feel like, well, why would he not then reach out to me if that were the case? You know, just to say something, just to let me know that he's okay, or that I'm wasting my time and money here, trying to find out uh, what happened to him. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Just I've been kind of thinking through this, trying to figure it out.
Right.
But I honestly, considering it coming from her, I'm not really taking it seriously. So I'm just entertaining the thought here with you. But I honestly was not taking it very seriously at all.
Well, okay. So you're entertaining the thought. I get that. But and we talked about it the last time, but didn't you identify John's body after his death?
I did, and I got to see, pictures of him as well. Mind you, I wasn't able to do. I'm sorry, I wasn't able to fully see him as you would expect, but um, it was him. I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that it was him.
Well, I mean, I feel like I drilled you enough on that first conversation about making sure that it was him because as you mentioned you didn't witness his entire body. He had a sheet from his neck down, and you said that was due to, I guess, autopsy or something to that effect, and they didn't want you to witness that.
Right, they were in the middle of the autopsy, so his chest was still cut open.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be hard to go through. I mean, it's even as I've told you before as many times, and I've told many people watching these interviews. I mean, these aren't the easiest interviews to ask you these kind of questions, when you're still grieving about the situation. So again, I have to say I apologize. But hopefully people are
Okay.
hopefully people are gathering something from this, unfortunately from your pain. Because I mean, I just really as much as possible, I would really like to have people stop disrespecting John, saying he's still alive, and just honor his memory. I think that would be the best way to move forward for everybody. And I know people have hope and they're wanting saviors, but in this situation, we have each other. We have ourselves and we have each other, and we can stand together and save ourselves. We don't need individuals to do that. So,
Sorry.
no, it's cool. I kind of wish you wouldn't even say, it's not my place, but I kind of wish you wouldn't even say that it's even possible, because if you've witnessed John, because I've seen articles too that the media is putting out trying to sensationalize this, where you're saying it's possible. But if you've witnessed his body,
Yeah. Maybe it's
then
not
it's
helpful.
then it's not possible. So I mean, I have to ask again, one more time. Hopefully, people will get this.
No, I don't. I don't believe that he is. I don't believe that he is. But we are talking about John McAfee, so I can concede that fact. But I don't believe that he is. Yes, I identified him when I went to the morgue. It was him. You know, um, so I don't know what else I could say other than I guess I'd rather not continue to speculate. Maybe that's probably the best thing I should do moving forward, as opposed to speculating what I think may have happened. Just wait for his body to be released, and then I can answer all these questions for everyone, and we can put this to rest. Finally, and with authority.
Do you still plan on getting an independent autopsy done?
Yes, I do. I do for sure, because that's the only way to get these questions answered. Um, and so that's something that's being arranged. Um, so I'm just trying. I'm trying to navigate that as well, because it was initially explained to me that the judge would have to sign off on an independent autopsy, and I'm not sure how that will pan out. But definitely that is the plan.
And then one thing I've always been curious about is if, you know, when John's body is released, there's an independent autopsy done. Is there going to be too much deterioration to fully determine whether or not what the Spanish coroner is saying versus the independent autopsy?
I'm assuming that's what they are hoping for. But I watch a lot of criminal cases, like cold cases, and they
Like
can.
CSI and stuff?
Yeah, I watch a lot. I do. I watch all that stuff, and maybe it's silly, but I do believe that um, there's a way to still know. Obviously, there's going to be deterioration, obviously, but um, I think there's a way to find out, if at the very least, if there is discrepancies between the official autopsy report and what maybe the independent autopsy report may reveal. So we'll at least have that, if
Right.
if nothing else, if nothing else.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to pull up another screen share of the petition. And again, I really want people to, if you have not signed it, please sign. Please share. If you've already signed it and you haven't shared, please share. If you signed it and share again. Let's get the word out and get some more signatures on here. That would be great. Janice, what I would like to do, if you're okay with it, is once you hear some more information and have hopefully in the next month or so or less, hopefully, you'll have some clarity as to what's going on, whether or not they will release, when they'll release John's remains, and how you can move forward. And I'm assuming you're going to continue remaining in Spain until that takes place.
Yeah, it doesn't, honestly. It just never made sense for me to leave, because you know, since I'm going through all of this nonsense here, I just figured leaving would only make it that much easier for them to um, continue to drag this out and continue to make things difficult. So I will be staying here. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully if we'll have a resolution. I don't see them dragging this out another year, or even till the new year. Obviously at that point, well, before it got to that point, I believe I just have to take more drastic measures to ensure that it's not dragged out another 6 months even.
from a legal standpoint, I'm curious also, has there been any sort of change in his daughter Jen and her claims? Is she still kind of taking a back seat? Or
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't heard anything from her attorney. But obviously, I haven't been hearing directly from them, but I've been hearing from my attorney, and he has not mentioned anything. So I'm just moving forward as I have been.
okay. I will also have a link again, as I mentioned to everybody, with the first interview with Janice. Right after that, I did an interview with Mark Eglinton, who wrote the book, The John McAfee Tapes. And we talk about that book on that interview. Plus, in this playlist, you'll find all my interviews with John McAfee, including the speech that John recorded for the Anarchadelphia conference that I attended, including a link down below for the change.org petition. And I'll even include a link for the IMDb information for Running with the Devil, The Wild World of John McAfee. And I will also include a link for the New York Post article as well. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming back on.
Thank you for having me.
Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to leave people with? Any final words?
Just thank you for signing and sharing the petition. And I will do everything. I will continue to do everything that I can to get answers. And once I have them, I will obviously share them with the public. And once we have John's remains, there will obviously be a memorial that will be had so people can share in that as well. But while we're waiting to get his body, I just appreciate you guys continuing to sign and share the petition and to help kind of put a spotlight or keep a spotlight on this situation to pressure the Spanish courts here, the Barcelona court here, to finally render a decision so that his remains can be released. So thank you all so much.
Again, I appreciate your time. When you mentioned it, to the one last thing I did not like about the documentary, and is the fact that they didn't mention that John's remains have not been released and that there's a petition out there. That I think would have helped the situation. I think we'd have a lot more signatures if that was at the end of that.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't go along with the fake narrative they put at the very end of the documentary. So
Right.
it would just kind of made Sam's fake testimony look exactly like it exactly is. It's fake.
Like it did come across very fake. It did do that. And you know what?
Especially the smirk at the end.
Yeah, what was
where
that?
she turned to the camera and like smirked. That seems so staged.
Yes, very and not well staged at that.
No, she's not a good actress. She's not getting any awards for that part. Well, hopefully the next time you're on the channel, we'll have some really good news and be talking about how we can celebrate and memorialize John, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
So thank you again for your time. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up the recording. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Again, as we're asking, if you haven't signed, please sign the petition. Please share it with everybody. That would be greatly appreciated. I'll keep everyone updated. Make sure you're following Janice on her social media over on Twitter. I'll have a link down below for her Twitter account so you can stay updated with everything in real time. If you're not subscribed to Rice TVX, make sure you are subscribed. Hit that notification bell, and I'll leave you with this. Be a blessing to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. Be the change you want to see in this world. Practice change.